Oh, the Mark 18. What can be said about this weapons platform that hasn't already been said? It's just one of those guns that it's a must-have for whether you're a real steel shooter or an airsoft player. Both newcomers or veterans alike just want to get their hands on them. For the people who don't know, the Mark 18 was a project headed by the US Navy and later taken on by Naval Special Warfare with the express purpose of taking advantage of the AR M4 platform's modularity. Since the M4 was not necessarily the best suited platform for all situations, the Mark 18 was born using the CQBR, or Close Quarters Battle Receiver. What we have here today is a special Mark 18 because obviously not all are created equal. This one, well, before you write it off as just another M4 review, hear me out, this one comes from the gods themselves, from on high, from the makers of magic and all things sacred and holy in the airsoft community. This is the Tokyo Marui Next Gen Mark 18 AEG. It's always a rare treat to be able to review a TM gun here on the channel. I mean, we clamor for them, and we really want to get our hands on them and show you guys, but for whatever reason, we just can't. But before I get too far ahead of myself, and you may happen to be new to airsoft and don't know who Tokyo Marui is, well, Tokyo Marui are the people who, well, they invented the AEG about 30 years ago. That's 3 decades. And they are still a very prominent and leading manufacturer in the airsoft industry. And the reason for this is they do like to innovate rather than just copy. While some innovations may be a hit or miss, some become industry-leading standards, such as the High Kappa series of gas blowback pistols, or their VSR-10 platform of sniper rifles. And now, of course, their next-gen electric recoil system, or next-gen for short. So I want to share with you guys how this gun actually feels in your hand and dispel with a few myths. First, not all Japanese guns are plastic. This gun features a metal upper and lower receiver with a CNC rail. The aluminum feels good and it's very sturdy. There's no wobbly or creaking sounds to the gun. All the weight is distributed right here in the middle because it is a recoil shock system with an electric blowback, so the weight is right here, making the gun feel very nimble actually, not front heavy like many other guns are. Flip up front and rear sights, they just click into place nicely. And the selector feels very positive, almost mechanical. Not like some other lower end AEGs that, let's just not say they're very good. The trigger, I do not prefer the micro switch trigger so much because it just feels like a mouse click. This one has some feedback to it. Charging handle racks back nicely and sends back forward smoothly. And the dust cover actually works. What a concept. It's pretty cool. I quite like it. Now let's get into a little bit more details about the gun. This gun uses the Tokyo Marui Next Gen system, so it does offer a bit of recoil, but more on that later. And I've talked about Mark 18s several times on this channel, but with its fully licensed rail, this one does have a few differences, though very minor, over the other ones I've talked about, most notably the G&P Daniel Defense Mark 18, which is kind of more of a civilian version. Some of those minor differences are, this one has a 4-pronged flash hider, and its outer barrel kind of comes right into the edge, into the very, very front of the rail, kind of giving it a flush look. It looks really handsome like this, so there's no extra outer barrel sticking out at the end. The flip-up front and rear sights are also a little different in design, with the rear sight also being able to be adjusted for windage. As an added bonus, there's even a sling mount at the very rear of the rail. Let's talk about this TM Next Gen system now. What it basically is an electronic blowback impulse built into the gun. So every time you pull the trigger, you're gonna get a little bit of recoil. Now don't expect anything crazy like GBB recoil impulses, but compared to the competition out there, you're gonna get the most reasonable amount of recoil per trigger pull, while at the same time not making your gun feel too sluggish or non-responsive like other EBBs have in the past. It's a balancing act, really, because your recoil impulse has to correspond to your trigger pull. You can have a really sensitive trigger right out of the box, like a Systema, the recoil shock version, but that recoil was laughably light. Or you can have something with strong recoil like the KWA-ERG, but let's just say the trigger pull on that gun was less than stellar. Marui seems to have found the perfect balance. Adding to the realism of the gun, Tokyo Marui also built in an empty magazine detection function to this gun. So every time you finish shooting, it's not going to shoot anymore. And you're going to have to strip the magazine out, put a new magazine in, hit that bolt release, and then you can shoot it. This system was actually invented by Systema years ago, but now we're seeing it make its way into a little bit more affordable AEGs, such as this guy. Now, the downside is, if you want to use this function, you're going to have to either use their proprietary magazines or magazines that are specifically compatible with TM Next Gen. If not, you can use regular AEG magazines as well. You just won't have any of the features I just mentioned. Another added bonus, this is a Tokyo Marui gun. What that means is you're going to have access to the wide variety of upgrade parts and replacement parts that so many companies out there make for it. So you can tinker and upgrade and change and modularize your gun to your heart's content. And one of the most notable upgrade parts manufacturers out there is Gate Electronics to help you really clean up that trigger behavior. Last year, Gate dropped the Titan model for the next gen recoil shock, and we put it in as one of the top innovations of 2018. What this does is it supercharges your gun, taking all the potential lag out of it and making it shoot much faster and way more responsive. We put that system in a different gun though, so see for yourself. German players who are restricted to semi-auto, this is probably a godsend to you. Now let's find the hop-up. If you guess the hop-up, right here in the chamber, you would be right. Pull back the charging handle and you'll find it right there, just to your heart's content. One last thing before we go and shoot in chrono. Now, with each one of these guns, there's a little adapter for you to charge their proprietary batteries with. You'll find it in the box. If you don't want to use their proprietary battery, you're going to have to change this part out. Now, how do you do that? Haha, you do it with one of these. This is a Prometheus Conversion Kit that allows your TM Next Gen to use standard small Tamiya type batteries. Step 1, you unscrew the small screw right here in the middle. Be careful with that small screw, you're going to need it later. Careful, they are very small. Gently pop out the fuse. You can save that fuse for another day as well. There are 2 screws right here. These screws are also really small. Make sure you don't lose them. And this whole part comes out. Small set of pliers. You can take out these 2 silver pieces and exchange them for the gold pieces you'll see in a little bit. It's optional. This just keeps it in there nice and snug. Red will be on the left side, black will be on the right side. One side. Line them up, put them in, screw it back on with the plate that you'll see in a little bit, and you're ready to go. Keeps everything in place. This bracket keeps all the cables nice and snug inside your buttstock, so don't lose it. I'm using 0.2 gram BBs and a 7.4 LiPo battery. Very stable in that FPS, what you come to expect from Tokyo Marui guns. So it's time for a test firing and see how accurate this baby is right out of the box. Start with semi-auto. I expect nothing but pure accuracy from a stock Marui. In terms of pure recoil experience, you're definitely get a little bit more felt recoil. I would say about double the times of the felt recoil compared to the Systema recoil shock. It's not as hard kicking as the KWA-ERG, but at least the trigger doesn't feel like it takes 30 years before you can reshoot or follow up with a second shot. Man, this gun is accurate too. Now let's do a mag dump, and we're going to check out that empty mag detection feature. Cleared it. During the course of this video, I mentioned 2 guns and the top innovations of 2018. If you want to check out those videos, you can click in the card above, or you can find all those links in the description below. The Tokyo Marui Next Gen is the only platform that's been able to deliver where others have failed in times past. It is the only one that's been able to give the airsoft market something that's stable, reliable, and yet affordable, while all the meantime being an electric blowback. It's the only company that's really been able to give you a somewhat realistic manual of arms while combining all of that on an electric platform. While you're not going to be getting some ultra awesome, mind-blowing amounts of recoil, nor are you going to be getting the most supercharged, high-speed racing trigger right out of the box. But what you will get is the quality assurance of a Tokyo Marui product. And as a bonus, you're going to be able to enjoy the ubiquity of all the parts out there of this being a TM gun and being an industry leader. While, of course, there are other companies out there that are trying to replicate this amount of success, and they're trying hard, but they still got quite a long ways to go before they're able to catch the king of the hill, Tokyo Marui themselves. But hey, enough about what I think. I want to know what you guys think. So let me know all that in the comment section below. And for cool products like this, get it while you can on our online store at www.redwolfairsoft.com. My name is Mark, aka Blue Steel, and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of RedWolf TV. Have a good one.